OxFit Podcast, episode 25.
On the road to 50.
Road to 50.
Coming in strong. I need some new headphones. When we get to 30, I'll get some new headphones.
Okay.
They're my headphones. I should just swap
Are
with
they?
you. These ones don't fit right. Them ones you can adjust.
Yeah, I know.
But this might be our last pre-recorded episode anyway. So
Yeah.
we're going to try to do some live next week. So
We'll see how it goes.
it might, yeah. The first live will be like the first podcast we did probably. So,
Yeah.
but got to keep trying new things. Beginner's mindset is what we learned in the last book.
Yeah. And now we're on a new book.
Yes, Atomic Habits. And I've tried to read this book a few times. I had it a while. Is this your first time?
Yeah.
Okay. And do you know one of them books where like it's really good for the first few chapters, but you like go, I get it. That's what I felt like, I think, the first time. And I just started like doing better habits, I thought. But I didn't get past that first section, which I'm trying to do now with books. Like,
Yeah.
I don't move on to a new one until I've got like highlighters, notes, everything all the way through it, and I've implemented everything from that book. There's a business book right now that I'm still stuck on the first part because I haven't got everything where I want it, you know? And so with this one, like digging into it again, and actually like I'm stuck at a point now where it tells you to do a habit scorecard.
Okay.
And so literally started today, and all you do is log everything you're doing in the day and put a plus if it's good and negative if it's bad. And only like he says in the book, there's no such thing as good and bad. There's only effective, because every habit serves you in some way.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. So
Yeah.
like I've got woke up at 5:05 is a plus because I got up an hour earlier than 30 minutes earlier than I needed to like make sure I enjoy getting to somewhere. So that was a plus. But I also wrote underneath I snoozed 5 minutes, which I don't like. I feel worse when I snooze.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was like, that's a negative for me. But the snooze serves you in some way, right?
Right.
Oh, an extra little 5 minutes. Still serving you, even if it's positive or negative, which I think is interesting. And then like when I got a coffee at Dunkin', I put it as a negative. I wanted the coffee, so it's still serving me some way. And just like keep going. And you don't really judge any of them too harshly. You just observe in them.
Yeah.
Because how did he say it? It says it really interesting. Self-awareness. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you'll call it fate. So you're making unconscious habits conscious, so you're aware of what you're actually doing, rather than just be like, well, that's look, or that's... No, you've set up your life in a certain way, you know, which I thought was interesting. So doing this habit scorecard, putting positives and negatives, and just like noticing what I do. And one thing that I can observe right now, and we're only at 11:45, is it says Instagram on there like 5 times.
Okay, so you're getting like specific with it.
Oh,
like every time
got
you
to.
pick up your phone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I need to start doing that.
Never would have done this. I would have just been like, that sounds cool. Let me decide on my habits. And the way it said, like, until you make the unconscious conscious. So what are you doing without even thinking about it? And we know that phone has been set up so everything you do is unconscious, and you just spend time zombieing into that thing, right? So that's pretty cool to be aware of that. So yeah, I'm absolutely loving this book right now. It feels like it just hit at the right time because I'm working with all my Ox 100 guys on habits so hard.
Yeah.
This is my way to help them even more, you know? Like give them real action to these habits rather than just like build better habits. What does that mean? So that's how I feel anyway.
Yeah. I think it's cool because one of the first ideas he introduces in the book is, you know, you don't want better habits to achieve a goal. You want better habits to become the person you want to be. So I think that's really good for people doing Ox 100 or anyone looking to make a life change. There's not going to be some steep drop off. It's like, well, I'm going to do these habits for 100 days and then, I'll be free afterwards. It's like, no, we're building these habits because at the end of 100 days, you want to be that much closer to the person you wanted to be. And so that's going to keep going.
Yeah. Which is the problem I have with most challenges, right? You do it and then you do it again next year. And the way that we've built Ox 100 is we want to add things into your life that you keep or you get rid of. It's called flexible nutrition because you can eat whatever you want if it fits your goals. And so, yeah, the way I think this book is, I don't know how I would respond to this book, even though it would have been necessary for me in my early 20s because I was so goal oriented, like, forget all that. It's the goal. But now I understand that the only things I've got in my life have come from enjoying the process. So like I shot 1,000 shots a day, right? No matter what. And that was just me falling in love with the process of getting better at that. And then now understanding that for me to meet the better version of myself, I want to know the CEO version of Ant. He can't do the habits that he's been doing and become that person. And I used to think it was like big things, like, so go and do something like crazy. But when you break it down into these atomic habits, something smaller, and you're like, oh, that person just shows up every day like this.
Yeah.
And I think I would have been a more successful athlete if I would have really been like falling in love with every part of the process rather than seeking the end result. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you said, there's somebody says it in the book, Bill Walsh is like a famous NFL coach. And he says the score takes care of itself. So you do the right thing every single day and the score takes care of itself. And the way they say it is like your knowledge is a lagging measure of your learning habits. Your weight is a lagging measure of your eating habits. Your strength and skill is a lagging measure of your training habits. You're not going to see it today, but you'll see it over the course of 100 days, what impact them tiny little things can have. Yeah. And so, yeah, like, who do you want to be, not where do you want to go? And you get where you want to go by becoming that person. So we all think, like, I know I do, like, I want to be a professional basketball. I want it to be a college basketball. I want to be this. But if you put someone there before they're ready, you just fail. Yeah. I want to be the owner of this business. Well, until you've gone through the steps to become the person that could be the CEO of that business, you'll fail. If I gave you a dream job now, if I gave you a dream life now, if I took you to the CrossFit Games now, if I put you, you know what I mean? Like, you've got to get there with them tiny steps. And, I think you could probably convince me of it, but I think I'd struggle. Now I kind of get it, right? Like, I feel like this book hit me at the right time.
Yeah, I agree. Because I think it's also a good way to think about, I mean, I know me, like, I don't have a clear goal of, like, this is who I want to be in 10 years. Like, I have to achieve that and be this person. Yeah. So reframing it and being able to think about, well, what kind of person do I want to be? I know you asked us that question last week. And just knowing that if I intentionally make those tiny changes, that all of those habits are going to compound on each other, and it can't be bad what's waiting on the other side. If I keep making these more intentional decisions and just letting myself grow in the direction, you know, as a leader, as an athlete, as a friend, like whatever I want, then I'm going to end up where I need to be. And I'm going to be able to enjoy it along the way as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost, what does he say? Like, goals can be like a thief of happiness or something like that, which I'd never even put them things together. But like you said, if you only have one set goal of who you want to be in the next 10 years, then getting there or not is the only thing that matters. But if you just break down who the person is that is at the place you want to be and what characteristics they have, even if you don't get to that goal, you're going to be working on yourself and getting better. So it's not like a all or nothing. Right. Like success at all costs. because it kind of doesn't exist. You look like an overnight success because of all the day-to-day stuff that you've done, right? So I'm a big goal person.
Yeah.
I'm all about goals. And I think the way that it says it here is like great for direction. So that's the direction you want to go. Now we need to break it down into the habits that get you there.
We need system. He says system a lot. So if you don't have a system in place, then you're not doing anything.
Right. Yep. Systems equal success and goals equal direction is how I kind of wrote it. And you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems, which like that's what you get to see in February. We're in February now. And some people have been super motivated in January. And then it was the first weekend of February this week. And I guarantee some people are not doing Whole30, paleo, whatever it is. Dry January is huge, right?
Yeah.
Guarantee most people are not doing a dry February, and it ended this weekend because you were just riding motivation to get you there. And then once that motivation ran out, now you've got to check back on your systems, and you look at the fridge, it's full of alcohol. How long can you resist that temptation to get there?
Yeah. Yeah, you can't rely on motivation. There has to be discipline involved, because motivation is going to fade always. But yeah, if every day you ask yourself, is this the choice that this type of person would make? That's discipline. Saying, well, I'm not going to drink for another 2 weeks because I don't need it and that doesn't align with my goals. Or, just being able to keep that going for yourself, because motivation fades really fast.
Yeah, and people can be disappointed. They could be like, oh, well, I had a great January and now it's February and I'm not doing what I said I was going to do this year. But it's just because you didn't create the systems when you were there. And I think we all think we lack motivation when we actually lack clarity on what it is that we want. And if you want to create a new system, you have to call out what it is that you want to do. And most people are in these environments, like an extreme example, somebody goes to rehab, they get clean, and then they come right back to their life, and then they fall off the wagon, right? Same thing is like, you have to change your environment. You have to make sure that you structure your environment so that you don't have to be heroic every day. If you have to open the fridge every day and it's just junk food and soda and, beer, you have to every day challenge yourself. But if you get rid of all that stuff, it's only healthy stuff. Now it's an heroic effort to go and cheat on your diet. So if you can structure your environments to make it better, then, and some things come at a cost, right? Like, I know it's kind of stupid, but like, I know now that I have to spend more on sparkling water to drink more water. So like, it's not cheap. They're like $3 for a glass bottle of this Topo Chico. You know what I mean? But it's fizzier and it replaces soda.
Yeah.
The stimulation I get, it beats it. So it's worth it.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that's the same reason why I have that stupid $30 cup. Like, I do drink more water when I have it. Yeah. And it does sound kind of silly, but if I'm going to keep filling that up instead of not drinking any water, then I'm going to buy the $30 cup.
Right.
Like,
because you just understand that you've got to create that environment. And yeah, making the cues obvious and making the bad habits invisible is, it's really important. And that's the thing with the scorecard, right? Like, that's why I would say everybody should watch a couple of days or a week of what you do.
Yeah.
Because it's so amazing how subconscious some of the things are. And I mean, I'm 37. Like, some of these habits are not going to be easy to break because they've got cues that I've lived with forever. Like, I want to fall asleep better, but my habit is to watch TV before bed. That's not been a habit that I've done the last 6 months. That's probably like a 20-year habit, So am I going to break that in January? I doubt it. Unless I throw away my TV, put the iPad somewhere. Like, you have to create a false environment to be successful. And yeah, I'm going to let you know how it goes on some of these, because I just got a new phone, and I'm going to set up my old phone with all the stuff that I don't want to look at on a day-to-day basis, and then keep my new phone for just focus work.
Okay.
Because I know my goal is to be better, to be more focused, to be more effective, and to be more clear about where I want to go every day, and not just, like I said, there's 5 times on Instagram today already. And that's me tracking it, being aware of it. So I probably am looking at it less than I normally do. I bet it's usually 10 times by now.
That's what I was going to say, is even if you tell yourself you'll be honest, you probably, because you're tracking it, you're not being...
Yeah, you tell someone to track their diet, what are they going to do today?
Eat pristine.
Right. And it's not like they're going to be like, well, usually I do this. So just being aware.
Right.
And that's why it's important to kind of not judge it at first, because like, I want to do this for a few days to really learn where it is that my habits are at, you know? Yeah, what is the biggest thing you've taken from the first part? I think the identity is huge, right? Making these things a part of your identity. Like, we see it. The people who are really successful when they come into the gym are the ones that become OxFitters, right? And they like embody what it means, and they come every day. Usually the morning people, right? They come at 5:30 or 6 a.m. And I tell people all the time, like, you want to change your life? Come at 5:30 a.m. or 6 a.m. because it's always the same people.
Yeah.
Every other class is a random group of people except the first 2 classes of the day. So if you want to change your life, I would say that's where a lot of people get their identity is. I wake up early and I work out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I think I liked the way he talked about identity, and he even said it. Obviously, he's a very successful writer, but he didn't start out that way. He just wrote an article and emailed it to like 10 people for a couple weeks, and then emailed it to 100 people. And then he just kept growing and growing. And he was like, in college, none of my professors would have ever said I was a good writer. They would say just average, like everyone else. Yeah. So I think for me as a coach and as a leader, no one ever starts out like that. Like, your daily efforts all compound to make you into that person. You just have to believe it.
Yeah.
And so going forward, just continuing to tell myself, I am a leader because I am leading. I'm not the best leader I'm going to be yet, but I could be if I approach every day with that identity of, I'm a leader, I'm a coach, I'm an athlete, like, I'm all these things.
Yeah.
Instead of, one day I'll be that.
Right. And calling it out when you're doing it, not just doing it. You know what I mean? Like, being like, that was good leadership, and making sure you're aware of it, or seeking some, because knowing what a leader would look for. So like, a leader might seek feedback, so you'll go and find places to get it, and you'll like look for it and be like, that's the sign of a good leader, or whatever it is that breaks down what you think a vote for leadership is, you know? How you show up every day. And then just like, it might break down to tiny habits that are not even related to professional, but make you a leader to yourself. So like, you feel confident in yourself that you're a leader. So like, you get up at a certain time, you eat this way, you do these things, like all them things. Like, I tell people when we do Ox 100 is like, it's a habits challenge with fitness and nutrition, not it's fitness and nutrition. Like, yeah, they're the cornerstones, because to me, they're the base of the pyramid of life. Like, if your nutrition and your fitness are down, everything else as you want to get to the top is going to be there. But if everything else is perfect, but you're not healthy, that thing's going to come crumbling down at some point. We don't know when, but at some point it is, right? So
yeah,
I love that you're thinking about that stuff and how it, you know, ties into your self-image, because we've talked about this on a few episodes, and there's a bottle of tequila behind you. And like, I haven't drank, I had a drink this weekend because to celebrate killing 30 days. And middle of the night, kept waking up hungover, right? Just kept waking up like, what did I, especially because I was so clean, and then you go and do that. And it was only like 2 drinks. And I woke up the next day and I was like, all right, how many times have we talked about, do I want to stop drinking?
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like coming back to the identity thing in the book. If I say I'm going to stop, that means I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
And I have so many ways that alcohol's tied to my identity. Like
mm-hmm.
looking back, like it's always been tied to fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been tied to having a good time with my friends. It's always been tied to a celebration of something. And now I'm starting to be like, well, I don't need it for like a social lubricant, because most of the people I'm around, I enjoy being around them.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have to drink to be around, you know, or to get more confidence or to. So I'm just starting to question all the reasons that I do it,
mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
And for a while, I've been questioning it. I just haven't pulled the trigger on whether I drink or I don't drink.
Yeah.
But it's got to be an identity change, I think, in this one.
Yeah.
Because I still subconsciously want to drink to celebrate moments and
mm-hmm.
to, like, it's tied to Christmas, holidays. Like, every part of it had alcohol in it for me, so.
Yeah, I was just at a wedding this weekend.
A dry wedding would be weird to me.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, this is perfect timing. It's the first weekend of February. Like, I'll have a drink at the wedding.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole thing is just surrounding.
Yeah, I can't imagine a wedding because you don't know everybody.
Yeah.
And it just makes it easy, doesn't it? Like, it's like, all right, have a couple of drinks, we're going. Now I can dance with everybody and, like, you start high-fiving the in-laws and stuff. People you've never met,
mm-hmm.
somebody's uncle, you know, doing vanilla ice to it, whatever. Just. So, yeah, I don't know. It's not serving me.
Mm-hmm.
It's a habit that doesn't serve me, I don't think.
Yeah.
Clearly it does in some ways, like you say, a wedding.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it.
Yeah, I think it could be. I mean, you're tracking your habits now.
Yeah.
And it's not like you have a drink every night, but like when the weekend comes around and you have one, like depending on the circumstance, it might be a plus sometimes. Most of the time it'll probably be a negative,
mm-hmm.
but
I think what I'm going to start with is on the times that I do, I'm just going to have one.
mm-hmm.
Just to like change the habit.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think I have a bad habit of, if I'm drinking, it's like 5 or 6. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's like, once you, what do they call it? Like,
break the seal.
Break the seal? Yeah. Is that when you go pee?
Yeah, I think that is when you pee.
Yeah, I was thinking that didn't sound right.
Well, no, when you.
I mean, it is break.
They know what you mean. Yeah. Once you have one, you need another one.
Don't need another one, but like the trigger goes like it's party time.
Yeah.
Right? And sometimes it might not even be party time, just like at home.
Yeah. Well, I've never really understood people that like, we had a glass of wine with dinner last night and it was a Tuesday. And I'm like, well, I didn't. But that's because when I do drink on a weekend at a wedding,
you go hard.
I'm not having one drink.
Yeah.
I'm partying.
You're going hard.
So,
yeah.
It's just, I don't know if that's, maybe I have maybe a little bit more of like an addictive personality, I guess. But it's just
I think it's just
infrequent.
tied to the binge.
Yeah.
So I don't even, I don't even see it as like, oh, that's a negative. Like, obviously, if you did that every day, yes.
Yeah.
But it's just tied to partying. And when you party, you, like, have you ever thought about, like, if you lined up the amount of water you drank on a night out and you replaced the alcohol with water, how much you just drank?
Yeah.
Like, it's insane, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I don't know. We like 10 beers? Like, try drinking that with water today. So it's just wild. Anyway, off the subject. But, yeah, I don't know. Just, I don't think it's a bad thing that you go hard when you drink.
Yeah.
Because it's just tied to college, school parties, like being with your friends. If you did that every day, we got something, I'd notice being around you. But, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, what do you think? What do you think? Because, I mean, this is not the first time we've even talked about this on the podcast, is it? I don't think.
Just habits in general?
Just, drinking.
Yeah.
Because you even said one podcast, you were like, I don't really need it, but I'm not ready to give it up. I remember you saying something like that.
No, I kind of feel the same way.
Yeah.
Just because I really do enjoy like a good time.
Yeah.
And I guess I feel kind of bad about that. I don't know if it's just like a weak, it makes me feel weak to say that, but I have to admit it because it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have no desire to stop drinking. I mean, I don't mind doing dry January, dry March, whatever it is. Like, it doesn't bother me. But, yeah, when a wedding comes around or when
when it's party time.
Yeah, when it's party time.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Consciously being aware of each situation.
Yeah.
So we make the subconscious conscious. Like, how are you drinking in these situations?
One thing I've done, which if you don't have good self-control, I don't recommend this, but just not Ubering places. I don't know. I think it forces Cleo and I to do that. Like, we'll just have one.
Yep.
And then we'll have a LaCroix or some water.
Right.
And, I mean, can definitely do that because I'm not really in the mood to try to drive a car and get pulled over or hurt somebody or something crazy. But, like, I think that has been something that has worked. If we do, like, go over to a friend's house for dinner and we're like, we really don't want to not sleep well. We're both going to work out in the morning, so we're going to drive there. We're going to have one drink. But if we Ubered...
Which is what you've done, is you've used your environment, you know? So, like, if you know you're Ubering there and you're already paying for an Uber, it's almost like, well, we got to go harder now because we were investing in this Uber.
Yeah.
Right? But if you've controlled your environment, like, no, I'm driving, then you can control it that way. And, like, you don't have to have, when they go, come on, I drove out.
Yeah.
You're out of it right away.
Yeah.
When it's like, come on, and you're like, all right, the margaritas look good. I've already had one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is, it's funny because, yes, it works, but it kind of goes against what he talks about because now it's not an identity thing, it's an excuse. It's like when a smoker is like, oh, no, thanks, I'm trying to quit.
Yep.
Instead of just being like, no, thanks, I don't smoke.
Well, I mean, that's why we're not saying we've quit drinking. Because
no, right.
We both know when we say it,
yeah.
we stick to them things, right? Like, the language means something to us. Like,
yeah. So
if you offered me a cigarette, it's no.
Yeah.
If you offered me a drink, it's like, depends on the time, the situation, the location, the music, what I got to do tomorrow. If it's free.
Yeah. That's a big one too.
Shit. Me and Lauren went to the barbecue place up the street, Das Barbecue, right? And the guy, we're like, just some cups for water. And he gave us the soda cups and he went, get whatever you want. And I was like, oh shit. My working class broke ass mentality meant I had to have a soda, right?
Yeah.
Like, but if he would have given me a water cup that looks different to the soda cups, I'm not going to go get it. I'm going to be like, okay, well,
I have to get
now
water.
I got to get water. But he gave me and he said, get whatever you want.
Yeah.
And I was like,
got something you never
three
had
Diet
in your...
Cokes. 3 Diet Cokes.
It's free.
It was free. Open bar. I can't go to an open bar right now.
No.
Are you crazy? And we got an Uber? Come on.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Oh, shit. That's controlling your environment. But, yeah. Even if the cigarettes were free, I ain't smoking them, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. That's funny. Me and Lauren had that conversation. She was like, you got a soda, huh? I was like, he said. Even though we just paid, could have easily bought a soda. But, yeah, it was good.
Mm-hmm.
Being aware of it. Being aware that I like free stuff means that...
Nobody invite Ant or me to your open bar.
Yeah,
we
open
will.
Bar. The amount of times because the open bar I've gone too hard is it's numerous. At, like, family weddings too, when you're like, what was I doing? Yeah, your Aunt Susan did not like that. Like, oh, okay. Well, she shouldn't have an open bar, should she? All right, the next one, just to finish with, is habit stacking, which is something that, like, a concept that I work on with the guys in Ox 100. We're cutting out sugar. That sucks. To cut out sugar is hard. Tie something to it. So, yeah, I'm not going to eat sugar. What else is something that's not serving me? Alcohol is a good one to tie to it. Like, So stacking habits is something cool. Like if you're already going to do something hard, get rid of something else at the same time.
Yeah.
I like that concept. But I'm really enjoying this book, and I think you should start doing the habit scorecard today or tomorrow, this week. I'm going to do it for a few days and see what trends are in there.
Yeah, I think this week would be... I think the beginning of February is actually perfect timing because we did have such... I don't want to say strict rules, but we go hard in January.
It was a perfect
with the nutrition,
month, right?
With the dry January, and now we have a little bit more freedom.
Yeah.
So kind of seeing where I naturally let myself kind of slip back into my old routines and where I don't. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just being aware of that.
Yeah. So systems is something that we're going to focus on. I thought there was a great quote that winners and losers have the same goal. Winners have better systems. And that's a good one, right? Everybody that started this year had a goal to get stronger, lose fat, especially people around us. And then some people are building systems right now. Some people are just focusing on the goal. So that's what I'm working on with my guys, is to build the systems. And this next phase is interesting because they have a bunch of questions for me today, because I've just switched to phase 2. And I just said, like, gave them the base of what we're doing, but not how to do it. Because when I talk to them, I want them to find what tracking app works best on your phone. Which one do you like the look of best? Which, what's it called? Macro calculator, macro recorder do you like? Because if I just keep giving you all the stuff that I use, doesn't mean it'll work for you. And so I want to know which ones they like and which ones they might already be using some of these. So I'm not going to reinvent the wheel with, like, first phase I had a spreadsheet because I want them to get used to tracking. But now it's like, no, what works in your life? And so that's what I'm enjoying in this next phase, because it's going to be different for everybody. And then how we attach habits to it and, like, where they want to go, the person they want to become. It's going to be interesting compared to just, like, don't eat sugar and don't drink and cut out watching TV or something like that. Now it's like building the habits, which is another reason this book is at the perfect time for me.
Yeah, definitely. It's good. I'm only 3 chapters in. You're nice. A little bit ahead of me.
I can't stop reading it. The only reason I stopped, like, I think I'd be finished already if I hadn't taken the time this week to do this scorecard. So what is your... I think eventually we get something called like a keystone habit or something like that. Like, what do you think are some of the most important habits in your life that you're trying to build over the next year? Leadership, you said, was a big one, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, what I do... I don't even know how to phrase it. Maybe to get outside of my bubble. I have a tendency, like, I'll spend 3 days working, but then I realize I've been, like, all sectioned off, and maybe I haven't been a good leader. Like, have my coaches in East Atlanta even heard from me in the past 3 days? Or, you know? So finding ways, I think, to structure my day, or just, you know, plan more intentional ways to communicate with people. That is definitely a big one that I think is leadership related. So I think it'll be good for me to see, like, in my daily work, like, how many things do I do? In my head, I know they're serving the people that I'm responsible for, but I don't think I always make sure they know that.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. And you just assuming that they do.
Yeah.
Or you're assuming that, people know what you're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so being more intentional with how I communicate with people.
That's a good one.
And then also just structuring my day better. I really need a better, like, first 30 minutes of every day I do this. First 30 minutes or not even of the day. So the first chance I get to be on my computer, which that can be different every day.
Yeah.
But the first chance that I'm on my computer, these things happen before anything else happens.
Yeah.
And I think that'll help me a lot.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's good that you're going to do the scorecard, because I think that's what I'm I want to be more efficient, more effective. And like, you need to know where you can do that, right? So like, you come here and the first 30 minutes, like, you might have to go somewhere else. You might have to be in, like, you might have to be in the place that gives you the more inspiration, or like takes away all the distractions so that you can be the person that you want to be. You know what I mean? So, because like, I had an office here, and then I realized I couldn't do what I wanted to do here because there's always something. There's always like the paper towels, or the, you know what I mean? And like, the box needs taken to the trash. Somebody comes in and asks a question. The toilet breaks. The light goes out. And you just like, okay, for me to become the CEO, there's too many things that are happening in here that I have to deal with. And so I had to know to separate myself from the space, to have the space to think about where it wants to go and who I need to be a better leader. So that's something that you might have to explore, you know?
Yeah.
Because there's always going to be someone asking you questions or something that got to be done. And some of them things are easier to check off the list than the hard stuff that makes you better, right? I can come in and start cleaning the gym and moving stuff around. I did something, but did I push us forward?
Right.
Did I do something that serves you, Caitlin, Lauren, all the coaches, the team? You know what I mean? Or did I do something that just served me in that moment? Like, that's, you know, that's next level leadership thinking, right?
Yeah.
And so I wrote something down today that was like, only consume content to create content. So I have a tendency to like want to consume a lot of stuff to know about it and then not do anything with it. So like, that's why I'm glad we're jumping on a podcast today, because we're creating something with the content that we've been doing. And like, I'm not going to listen to a podcast or a book if I'm not going to do something with that knowledge, because this year is all about creating value. And if I just sit back and consume, then we don't move forward as a business. So, but creating's tough. Like, you have to be vulnerable. Like when we do these podcasts, next week we're going to try to do a live. It's going to be really next level. Like, we just keep pushing ourselves out of our comfort zone.
Yeah.
And fucking it up. Give me a quote from Mindset to get me through it.
Give you a quote from Mindset?
Yep. It's going to be uncomfortable when we go live.
Putting me on the spot here.
It's going to be uncomfortable when we go live, right?
Yeah.
How do we just do it?
I feel like you're quizzing me.
No, just asking you from Mindset. Like, how do we have a beginner's mind with that stuff? Because we've done 25 podcasts.
Yeah.
So we could just keep going.
Yeah.
But why are we pushing ourselves to do something different?
Yeah. We just want to get 1% better.
Yeah.
I think even if we take a couple steps back, it's still ultimately going to be a better direction.
That's why we're doing it then. That was nice. Good way to finish.
There we go.
25. We'll see you live for episode 26.
Hopefully.
Next Monday at 11 a.m.
There we go.
We'll call it out.
We're out.
Wait. No. This won't even be out.
No. This is like 3 weeks from now.
So you've seen our live?
That's true.
That's funny.
Yeah. We're ahead of the game, which we weren't for a while.
That's why we're going live, because it's too easy.
Too easy. All right. See you live.